Around August 10th, I checked the GFS models and a couple of the other long-range models that exist and saw something quite interesting. As you can see in the Eastern Pacific, it was forecasting a tropical system that would impact the Baja California as well as potentially even make landfall in Southern California. Euro model wasn't so keen on that, but as we found out with time, the GFS model actually verified, surprisingly enough. And as time went on further, we saw that not only was it verifying, but we were going to have to start planning for something significant. Hurricane Hilary reached a maximum of Category 4. And so, as it progressed further, the advisories were issued, and the imagery was beautiful. A terrifying system reaching over 140 miles per hour, but also looking absolutely textbook on satellite. With the track being forecasted, progressing further and further, it didn't seem to be deviating. It looked like Hurricane Hilary was in fact going to make landfall in California. So I decided to gear up for a chase and watch out for some of the other risks like that excessive rainfall outlook. But the tornado outlook here, that is the whole reason why I even considered going all the way to California. A couple days out, a marginal risk was already issued. And so I made the trek, staying in Phoenix and already seeing the outer bands of Hurricane Hilary as she was slowly weakening to just a tropical storm. Decided to stay at a travel stop and got reminded of what I am, a tornado fan. Further reminded that I'm a tornado fan when I saw the new convective outlook, which placed a 5% risk for tornadoes in 25 miles in Southern California. And already that night where I was staying, seeing the outer bands of the tropical system, the overall synoptic look was a ridge right in the center of the US and a trough that was helping to steer Hilary towards the United States. That tornado outlook only grew bigger. That 5% reached all the way into far southwest Arizona, and the 2% risk grew to include a significant amount of southern Nevada. The double high risk that exists for excessive rainfall was merged into just one large excessive rainfall risk. This was easily the largest risk that I had ever taken while chasing in regards to flooding. So I had to go about this differently, and it was going to be a learning experience. There I was on the morning of August 20th, seeing Hilary progress further and further, and noting that the forecasts were in fact very much verifying. I made my way from Phoenix to Yuma, Arizona. And then found that I was already in the wind field of the tropical system. In fact, that wind field was quite large, far beyond that cone of uncertainty. These radar images progress throughout the day as Hilary gets pulled further up north and blasted apart as she leaves the waters that supported what she looked like before, this amazing major hurricane. And there I was in Yuma, Arizona, about to cross into California, ready to chase tornadoes and intercept this tropical system with the difficulty of poor radar. Sightline obstruction and ground clutter was going to make this very difficult. But that mesoscale discussion, this one right here has to be the coolest one I've ever seen. A risk for a couple tornadoes noted by the SPC in California. And seeing this town name right here probably should have clued me in to what kind of chase I was about to experience. Fast-moving storms in rugged terrain. And this right here looks like a logo for a company, but nope, that's an NWS-issued graphic for a hurricane in Southern California. Well, tropical system by the time you see these images, but nonetheless, quite significant. And so I made my way to California with dreams of making it big like everybody else who goes. As you can see on the road, there's dust storms already. The tropical force winds have arrived to this part of California. Got tropical force winds, and because of it being desert around here, such arid climate, lots of dust being pressed across the road. You can hear every time that it comes across the grains smacking along the vehicle. So far, it doesn't seem to be terribly damaging but it's definitely messing with visibility. Alright, it might be time to put on the safety glasses. Alright, friendly, if you're watching yet, this is what we got right in front of us. I don't know if anybody even knows what they're doing by driving straight into the crap storm. Here's a view of that same storm base, but slightly sped up and contrasted. You can see dust being lofted. I'm definitely feeling there's a reasonable chance of tornadoes occurring in this area. The hard part, and the part that I don't really have any experience with in general, is just figuring out exactly how to catch a tornado without also getting overrun by floodwaters. There's gonna be debris in that water. Okay, right here, got my eyes on this spot. Now the reason why it's gonna be so dangerous today is all this dust is really able to paint with a natural brush the winds, so you're gonna be able to see all the winds that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. But unfortunately what that means too is that it's painting winds that are straight line as well as tornadic winds. That difficulty in being able to see is evidenced by missing clarity of something like this. Or this rotating column of dust that, looking back now, I'm almost certain is a tropical tornado. Here's another view of that little quick shot that I got. You can see little elephant trunk there in the center, surrounded by that massive amount of dust locked in the sky. And a view of that column of dust earlier when it was on the other side of me. These storms were moving so fast, and it was both so bright and so dusty. It was very, very difficult to make out any detail of what I was looking at. But now that I see it here, pretty certain it was a tropical tornado. Holtville. That one, that supercell right there. As you can see, that passed pretty much right over where my location is now. I was further back. Still looking big, but it's moving super fast. But it feels like one of the more dangerous chases that I've done. And with the associated flooding risk, it definitely was an above average risk for me in regards to the chases that I've done, and even the chases that I've gone on since. I like to avoid such a high flood risk generally. Oh, and to deal with the fact that the last time that I chased and streamed, my photo quality was either crap or literally fell off. I got this little camera. Full force winds. Right here you can see off in the distance a little funnel reaching down from that cloud, but I don't see a condensation funnel reaching all the way to the ground or ground circulation, so don't believe it was a tornado. Nonetheless, everything that I was chasing on this day was super grungy with the heavy amount of moisture brought by that tropical system. Seems to be the nature of the chase when you do this kind. I also just now realized that I'm all the way from California. Look at that. Looks like I got blasted open. You guys can see. Alright, what do we got here? And this is just another one of the many cloud structures that I looked at and thought, that looks a little bit suspicious, a little bit ominous, maybe a little bit of rotation. This is the dash cam view, gives it a nice, slightly different perspective. Look at those winds. I'm gonna avoid all the flood water. You know what? I wonder if it's better to just go back the way we came. Back to that dash cam view. You can see as I make the turn right onto the main road, a whole bunch of very fast moving wind driven rain is blasting across the town. The palm trees are being thrashed about by the strong winds. Very difficult to see, even in a moment when I add a little bit of contrast. Whether or not the rain bands are moving straight or rotating off in that distance near the ground intrigues me to look at that. Can't tell what the motion is. Is it just straight line, or is there a little bit of rotation to it? It almost seems like there's a little bit of rotation to it. But because of the fact that, again, there's no ground to cloud condensation funnel, no clear circulation on the ground, I can't readily call it a tornado. It seems more likely to just be strong tropical winds. And so as the flood risk started to materialize, I found myself deciding to run back towards the east away from the center of the storm. You can hear the water underneath the car. That is what I'm trying to avoid. Spot that we were in 20 minutes ago, and we're back. We're gonna get smacked by some rain. Everything around here is moving quick. And to give you a little taste of what that feels like to watch, I give this a time lapse. But when you're in person seeing these things, and you get a sense of depth, it feels as fast as what it looks like right here on the time lapse. Everything was just moving so fast. Storms blasting by at 60 knots. Oh. My hair must be so heavy. I don't know why I did that for the camera, but I guess I must be a little bit of a diva storm chaser. This storm right here, embedded in convective bands, is one of the most interesting to see with that low-hanging scud. Pretty far south, the furthest south that I think I've ever chased. So they wouldn't be that insane anyways, even if it was like a classic supercell. And watching that scud, you can see trying to put itself together, maybe drop a little wispy tornado. Didn't end up doing so, but honestly, this little storm right here was beautiful to see in person and still to see on footage. Here's the dash cam I got. It's a cheap little thing. Why should not work? I actually don't know how to put this on. With the tornado threat decreasing and the flooding threat increasing, decided to call it and make my way back to Yuma and onwards back to New Mexico. However, still driving through convective bands, that tornado threat was not going to be zero. And with all the dust still in the air, it was still difficult to see what was happening. Now you can understand why earlier I wasn't sure whether I was looking at straight line wind or tornadic wind. Look at this visibility. Go ahead and tell me what that is. Yeah, I wonder. You see him winding up there? Look at these conditions. God, I wish I could get the camera to focus. Let's see. Can I get it close enough to the windshield that it stops trying to focus on the windshield? This may be the moment where I finally figure out how to work for me. I had to contort the mount in my phone in 5 different directions to make it work. There we go. It's funny. God, that makes me laugh how it's makes an actual shutter sound. Right there I was talking about my dash cam, which for some reason makes an actual shutter sound when you take a photo with it. Electronic sound, of course, but it's just funny to me. This is how you stay safe while you're chasing a storm, tropical storm in the desert. Which itself sounds like a crazy proposition. Tropical storm in the desert. How about that? That's like some art inspiration right there. That looks really cool. Really photogenic. In a kind of intimidating way. And because of those strong winds, semis that were driving on the road got turned over. I saw 2 semis get turned over and 1 pickup hauling a trailer get turned over as well. That's interesting. That had some rotation, I think, is probably the semi-truck. The wind's moving around the semi-truck. As I said before, while still driving through the convective bands, I still had to watch out for the risk of tropical tornadoes. And I'm not certain that I didn't encounter any. Of course, tropical tornadoes, as I've learned, tend to be really small, grungy, and short-lived. Look at this. Legitimate dust storm that we're in. Okay, I think now I can focus. Let's talk options. No, I still can't focus. We're getting hit with a gust right here. I swear I'll talk options in a short bit. Let's see if we can keep the camera pointed out that way. Man, look how much of a difference it makes. Oh my god, I can't even talk. Look how much of a difference it makes to be able to see what's happening in focus. Here's another one of those suspicious cases. Looking at it, it almost seems like a little bit of the cloud descending and causing that dust to be lofted. But yet again, hard to tell. There's a little bit of contrast added. You can see that funnel reaching down. A little bit of rotation may be in there, but as per usual, it's just not definitive. From what at least the mode that I've been chasing is overturned vehicles. That's 3 now. 2 semis and a pickup hauling a trailer. As I reached back to the outer bands of the tropical system, the risk was slowly decreasing for me, but I wasn't quite out of danger. Not yet, not until I got to slightly clearer skies. As of course, the visibility on the road with that tropical wind field was still absolutely abysmal. Driving through it was a lot harder than it looks in this video. Nonetheless, pressing onwards and eventually making my way to clearer skies. This tree's definitely taking a hit. Look a little frazzled, oh my god. Yeah, let's point the camera away from me. I look sloppy. as usual. I choose a favorite photo from this chase, and so for the Tropical Storm Hilary intercept, this is my favorite photo. It's not the highest quality, but seeing those palm trees waving in the strong winds of that system is probably the most unique shot that I've gotten as a storm chaser thus far. So, anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked it, then hit the like button, leave a comment, share if you so insist, and I'd really like it if you subscribed. Anyways, have a nice day, guys.